In case anyone wondered where it had gone or what had happened to it, here we are, back with this Royal Enfield Constellation at last. And only the other day I had the cylinder heads and the barrels back after being blasted and cleaned up, and I've put it all back together and I had it running, although it turns out that the left-hand carburettor is not entirely happy with life, and I'm going to have to do a bit of work on that. I think the pilot circuit has somehow managed to block itself again while the carburettor's laying in a box doing nothing. So I've got that to look forward to, but I have had it running, and I've had it running for about 40 minutes, and I've got it very, very hot. And the good news would appear to be that, at least so far, there's no sign of any oil leakage in there, and it would have definitely leaked by now, running the length of time that I've run it and at the temperature that it's reached. So that's very good news indeed. We'll just have a look around the other side of it quickly, and then I've got something else to discuss. There we are. If we look under there, that all is clean and dry, and like I say, I've probably had the engine running for about 40 minutes or so. It's certainly got probably every bit as hot, if not hotter, than it would have done out on the road actually. So I think, well, like I say, there's no sign of any leak so far, so long may that continue. There was a leak from somewhere else, mind, that I never noticed last time this was up and running and in one piece here, and I've just been dealing with that. And it's funny actually, because when I was turning the engine over, even before I put the spark plugs in, when I was doing the valve clearances, I could hear a hissing noise, like a, a crankcase breathing noise, but I thought, where's that coming from? It's not coming from where it should. And I thought it was coming from the back of the timing cover, around where the magneto joins onto it. But it turned out it was actually coming from the back of this oil filler and dipstick neck. And what happened, I don't know when it happened, but the little rivet that holds the filler neck and the where the cap screws onto, there's a rivet there when it's screwed in, they riveted it and that held it in place. Well, the rivet was missing and there was just an open hole there, and I just happened, for some reason, while I was working a kickstart by hand when the bike lift was raised, whatever reason, I put my hand around the back of the filler neck, and the hissing stopped, and then I realised it was coming from the back there, and that hole, like I say, was open, the rivet had gone. So I've got a very small Allen grub screw, and I've screwed it in there with some thread locking compound on it, so that should close that off and seal it and stop the oil leak, which I was horrified to see when I had the engine running, because I thought, well, I'd only just hopefully stop that one there, and here, have this one instead. Well, that's what the cause was. So that's one for owners of Royal Enfield twins to bear in mind. If ever you get a mysterious hissing sound, or perhaps oily streaks down there or something, that rivet was completely missing, so it must have, I'm sure it must have been there last time the bike was here, but it must have been ready to fall out perhaps. So anyway, I've dealt with that. I'm going to try again tomorrow running this engine, because it really needs to cool down. Even the carburetors are baking hot now. It's not the best environment to run a bike really, static in this workshop on a bike lift, but I had to do it. I had to get it very hot to satisfy myself that hopefully that oil leak in there has stopped, and any carburetor issues and things like that are very minor compared to that one, which would have been a full engine strip if I hadn't managed to stop it. And I'll discuss the way I stopped it. I think I already have actually, but we'll come back to that another time. But the bottom line is, this is actually up and running again, and overall, in spite of a few little minor setbacks, I think I've made progress with it, and I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that that oil leak has finally stopped.